And this is the third and final video in the series. I will be showing you how to do potatoes today from store-bought. Mostly any kind works, really, from yams to Idahos and russets. Uh, Not a ton of difference in the tubers and how to grow them. Just some key things is that you want the eyes to start to be doing the little thing where you're like, oh, these are growing bad, get rid of them, or however, depending upon the finicky nature of yourself or your dinner guests. Um, so you'll need some soil. I have here um, a steer manure blend. Pretty much any kind will work. I did this over the summer with yard clippings. We mow our lawn and then just dump them into a pile. And I just went over, took a big bucket, stuffed it full of the rotting yard clippings. Just not not the super fresh stuff on the top, although you can use that. It really doesn't matter too terribly. But you just take your yard clippings. The more rotted, probably the better. But you just take your yard clippings and bury some eyes in them. So you'll just take a potato like this, and then you'll try to get a few eyes per chunk. A small one like this, if it had 2 eyes, I'd probably just chop it in half like that, and then put it in dirt. So pretending this is a big container, which we will talk more about in a moment, I will just set this in there and then lightly cover it like that. Probably with potatoes, I'd go 1 to 2 inches deep, and not too much deeper than that. Some key things, lessons learned from myself. Water. So water, water, water. Don't overwater so that it's rotting, but potatoes drink. So they drink a lot. Just get the soil, just keep the soil wet. Not standing water wet. If there's standing water, you've done something wrong. Because all containers should have drain holes. I realize I didn't stab drain holes in the Dixie cups, but also I don't want manure on my flooring here. A common container that I like to use for these bigger projects are Homer buckets. They are $5 a piece. They are universally versatile. I love these things. Another thing that you can use is like we buy the big 5-gallon buckets of laundry detergent or whatnot, but you will need to thoroughly sanitize, rinse, and clean them out, and perhaps even use a liner, just because plants can readily absorb the chemical compounds that are in the dirt around them. And you wouldn't want to inadvertently have cleaning agents. Admittedly, they'd probably be broken down molecules into something else, but I don't think anybody wants trace cleaning agent or trace laundry soap in their potato. Some things. A potato is a starch, a very starch-rich item. And starches are primarily made from the sugars in the leaves through the act of photosynthesis. So they need a lot of sunlight. A lot of sunlight. Did I say a lot of sunlight? So with potatoes, you may want to get a cheap grow light off of Amazon. They have some very, very, I thought, in the $20 to $40 range, cost-effective LED systems that offer the broad spectrum from the red to blue that plants seem to enjoy the most. That's a separate issue video purchase. If you have the ability to put this on a patio, doorstep, or something outside that just gets a lot of sunlight, you want full sunlight, morning to sundown. So sunlight and water. Uh, Adequate drain holes with a drill, or just stab turn if you're careless and reckless like me. If you cut yourself, I'm not liable. So most of a plant's body will come from the carbon it sucks out of the air, and potatoes are no different. So again, that's kind of why the nutrient bed uh, doesn't terribly matter. You just need a certain amount of trace things that are there that tend to be there, like nitrogen. There's bacteria. They fix it. They pull it from the air into that. And I promise you, they're gonna be present. It's present if you use yard clippings. You'll be fine. If you use a store-bought manure or such, again, still present. If you use dirt, still present. Anywhere you acquire your growing medium from, as long as something else was previously growing on it, odds are it will grow for you. So you can use dirt from your own yard, dirt from the park. Don't let them catch you doing that. That's illegal. But anything works. And it'll take about 2 to 3 months when the vegetation, it'll grow. It'll be a nice big tall green little stalk, not terribly tall, probably a foot to 2 foot at most, and just a nice leafy thing. The leaves are edible, but careful, you're going to stunt your tubers if you go ripping off all the leaves. The foliage will die after it has completely died. Go ahead and cut it off, get it out of there, and then leave your potatoes sit in the dirt for, I'd say, probably a week or two to firm up nicely, and then just go ahead and tip your container over. Oops. Tip your container over somewhere, and just go through for your tubes. And if you don't want to use a Homer bucket, and I did this quite by accident last year, a trash bag. Just put your potting soil in the trash bag, like such. Typically, take it out of the bag, or whatever it is, and then plant your potatoes in there. It doesn't matter. They will grow. Plants grow. They grow everywhere. A weed grows up between the sidewalk. I have sprayed poison on it, mowed it down, hacked it at it, and I can't get it to go away. Plants like to grow, and they will if you just provide them the opportunity. So for potatoes, you're looking at about roughly 3 months of growing. So they are a bit of a time investment, but again, aside from keeping the soil wet, not terribly work invested.